Good evening, everyone. Welcome to What Men Wish Women Knew. I am Rebecca Gregory with RG Coaching Consulting, and we are excited about this forum on tonight. We have some gentlemen who are ready to share and ready to explore the conversation that is going to take place. I just want to give you guys a few disclaimers. Of course, this is adult content. So if there are children in the room, we do ask that you be mindful of that um, because of the nature of the subject. Also, any opinions shared during this segment are not the opinions of RG Coaching Consulting. This is to engage in a healthy conversation and to promote healthy relationships among men and women. But we are excited about what we are getting ready to embark upon. I wanted to do this segment because I see so many different statements and ideas and people in the media and in society on social media and different things. And I just wanted to have a conversation around men and women and our connection and our relations. And, what are we going to do about them and how can we move forward in this society and in a positive manner. So I have invited some gentlemen who are going to share their thoughts and ideas around some subjects on this night and next Tuesday. So it's a two-part series. So I do hope that you will tune in for both nights. If you are here now, please go ahead and click that share button and share with your followers, share with your friends, share with your family. This is also available on YouTube if you want to check this out on YouTube. To those who are watching the replay, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for spending your time with us. And we hope that you will definitely find something that is going to engage yourself and give you some information. I hope I'm looking for some information for myself. Always learning to grow. So without further ado, I'm going to bring the gentleman in so we can get this party started. Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
Oh, I am well. How are you guys?
Doing good.
Doing great.
Good. All right. So what we're going to do, I'm going to give you guys a chance to introduce yourselves, and then we'll get started with our discussion.
So I'll go ahead and get started. My name is Alfred Garrett. I'm the owner and CEO of the Garrett Express Trucking Company. I've been married 19 years, and I'm looking forward to sharing my experience with you guys. And hopefully the information I give you, you'll be able to utilize in your future relationships.
All right. Thank you, Mr.
All right, my name is Kedron Pryor. I am a current student at the Lamont College. I'm a senior. I currently am working at the Shelby County Trustee as a trustee for the government, and yeah, that's about it.
Thank you, Mr. Pryor.
All right, my name is Cleotis Williams. I am an educator, private driver, and I'm also a conversationalist looking forward to sharing some of this knowledge with you.
Thank you. All right, guys. So we are going to go ahead and get started. And we're just going to start with the overarching question. What is the main thing, if you had to pick a main thing, that you wish women knew about men? And anybody can just jump out there. Don't everybody start talking at once.
Oh, well, men can be emotional also, and they also have feelings also because, they think that, well, some women have been raised in the house that think that men should always be the strong one. But sometimes, it can clash if a man is too emotional. A woman just wouldn't understand it. So men can be emotional too, at certain points, because I feel like, we always have to be, guarded. We always have to be on point. We always have to make sure they're okay. But sometimes we also need it. And I think this where it kind of like misconstrues, where like men can't be emotional sometimes.
Absolutely. All right.
Now, repeat the question so I can make sure that I'm answering correctly.
What is one thing that you wish women knew about men? If you had to pick one main thing that you think is a myth or misconception that women should know.
Okay, I think the main thing women should know that all men that I know, I can't speak for all men, but most men want to be respected, treated as if they're a king of their home or their castle. Respect does go both ways, but if women respect men, I think it'll be a great way for the relationship to be able to move forward and last.
Okay, awesome. All right, Mr. Williams.
All right. Well, mine is more on gender roles kind of type thing. I think though I like having healthy conversations with in a relationship, but with my lady, I just think that men are not always interested in every single thing that that you have to talk about. I think that it's very important that ladies have more female friends and not be able to just share everything that they have, or they wish that we could always respond to every single thing that they can throw at us.
Okay, all right. Let me get my pen because I'm I'm gonna piggyback off of some of your responses, and I want to do that now with Mr. Pryor. You said that women need to be reminded that men have emotions. So how, if we're taught that men are this tough, they have this tough exterior, and we're to look for that, how are we supposed to, one, recognize the emotion, and two, how do we deal with the emotion? And I mean deal with the emotion because we have some women who will, and for lack of a better word, call a man a punk if
Right.
he's showing his emotions. So how do they balance that out?
Well, first, I've been raised around nothing but women, like nothing but women, and I've, experienced them for all my life. So I think that when I know, like when I was young and everything, and I was trying to express my emotions, they wanted me to be more stronger, more, kind of just overlooking how I feel. And I feel like that women should, like, like have a conversation. They should talk. They should ask what's wrong. Like, what did I say that made you feel this way? Because I know that, a lot of the times women also, women love to say, like, you made me feel this way. You said this to make me feel this way, but it's not really reciprocated back and forth with the man. So I feel like women should, definitely take notes. And it's not of a, like, just blaming women and pointing fingers. It's just that we both need to have a certain type of communication where we both respect each other's feelings.
Okay. Mr. Garrett or Mr. Williams, care to
So,
chime
so if
in
I
on that?
could, so if I can chime in or piggyback on Mr. Pryor, basically what I'm hearing him to say is that communication is key.
Right.
And so with communication, there's a reason why we got two ears. A lot of times, you want to speak and not listen, or listen and not speak. But communication works both ways. So we're having a proper communication, and especially dealing with relationships, you learn each other's love language. And you learn that by communicating, what makes you tick, what don't make you tick. So again, communication is the key. I can give you an example of what me and my wife use in communication. If we're having somewhat of a debate or argument, we get an ink pen and we hold that ink pen. One person holds that ink pen, and whoever's holding the ink pen is the only one that's speaking. So once I finish speaking what I'm saying, I give her the ink pen, and then I listen. Now she's listened to what I've said, and I've listened to what she said. Now we're able to communicate and expand upon what each other was speaking. So now, instead of trying to go back and forth, we're actually listening to each other so we can go ahead and rectify the problem. So
Okay,
communication is key.
awesome. Mr. Williams, would you like to chime in on that?
Yes, basically, I kind of look at this emotional thing as more of a conversation and communication based on peace and balance. Sometimes I kind of look at just being able to communicate in a relationship is a way of solving problems. I want to be able to communicate about repairing and gaining results. The quicker I can get through those types of things, the quicker I can kind of get over those things. So emotion for me is more like communicating. I want to get to the problem, solve it, and get out. And most of the time, I guess a lot of people in relationships want us to kind of hold on to it and pull too many more emotions out of it. And it's not all emotional for me. It's more or less I just need to get it off my chest and communicate my my best practices or whatever my issues are, and I like to get those things solved quickly and efficiently.
Okay. All right. I'm writing down notes. Okay. Next, I want to jump on what Mr. Williams said about women having friends. You don't mind being that person. You don't mind being that go-to, but you said that women need to have more friends that they can share the majority of their information with. Can you expound on that just a little bit?
Well, for many conversations, I admit I know a lot about a lot of things and a lot of information, but there are just some things that I believe that you can get to. Someone has a more experience and more expertise, as you will, if you will, in certain areas, and I think the experts need to do their job. You know, sometimes I can give my opinions on it, but sometimes my opinions may not be emotional enough for you, and it may not fit the mold that you're looking for. And so oftentimes men speak from truth and honesty, and we're always looking to fix our problems and get it over with. Well, oftentimes in a relationship or with women, they're mostly listening to their problems. They sit on their problems for a long time, and they want to soak in it, and they want more and more sympathy in it. And we're not that type. You know, we kind of want to solve our problems, and then sitting around holding it in, that kind of holds us, and that kind of drags us down even more. And oftentimes it looks as though we're insensitive, but by nature we're problem solvers, and that's what we're looking to do.
Okay. I see Mr. Garrett and Mr. Pryor nodding.
Yeah, well, if I can piggyback on that, it's good to have friends, but I think the most important is to have healthy friends, healthy relationships. You want to make sure that you're entertaining positive friendships and things of that nature, because as you already know, misery loves company. So you want to make sure that you're surrounding yourself with like-minded people to have a positive relationship with them as well as with their partner.
All right.
I agree with that.
I agree with that.
That's how everybody's head nodding. So, okay, we're gonna get off of this in just a minute. I'm gonna go one more level
Take your
down.
time. Take your time.
When you say relationships, as far as other women are concerned, what is healthy in a man's eyes as far as a female friend?
What is healthy?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, either you fit in one of these two categories. Either you're a brick builder or a bulldozer.
Okay.
So if you can understand those terms, if you're a brick builder, that's someone that's edifying you, that have your best interests at heart. And if they're a bulldozer, basically they're a hater. So
True.
you want to have brick, you want to have not a bulldozer.
Okay. All right. Good job. I love it. I'm going to use that. I'm just telling you now. Okay. I'll give you credit for it. I'm going to use it.
It's all good.
All right. So let's kind of move forward just a little bit. All right. What is one myth about men that you would like to see extinct? What do you think is one of the biggest misconceptions that women have about men?
Biggest misconception.
Mm-hmm. A cliche or
I have one.
Are you able to give some examples? Oh, go ahead, Mr. Williams.
Okay, one of the biggest misconceptions is that once a man is a dog, he's always a dog. And that's not always the case. That's not always the case. Just because you know the ins and outs of any type of relationship doesn't mean that you're going to double dip or go back into that world. You know, you kind of learn your lessons from many things in this life, and sometimes our past is the biggest teacher. And we also understand that going back sometimes pull you deeper, and you end up slipping, and you do a lot more than you plan on doing. But sometimes you just need to look back and remind yourself of where you come from, and you can keep yourself going forward that way. And then it's just a quick reminder to move forward and be prayerful that you have made it thus far and that you don't need that old lifestyle.
All right. Care to elaborate on that or dive in on that, guys? You agree or disagree?
Yeah, I definitely agree with it because I feel like people can change. Because I see that a comment said Tammy Conley said all men are dogs. But like, we everybody can change. So yeah.
Well, just know all dogs can be trained.
That's right.
I'm gonna use that too. And how are they trained, Mr. Garrett?
All about how you carry yourself. There's an old saying: you get more bees with honey than you do vinegar.
Okay. All right. Okay. So let's jump into another topic. And I y'all are really reserved on today. And I'm sure you're just getting acclimated to the environment. So let me give you something to loosen you up. All right. So one thing we're going to talk about in this series is men, women, and sex. Okay. So we're going to jump right into it. What is one thing, we're going to be general for a minute. What is one thing you wish women knew as far as sex is concerned?
That everybody is different. Nobody wants the same thing. And that goes back to communication. Find out what your partner likes.
Okay.
And that's going to begin with communication.
Okay.
Simple as that.
Mr. Pryor?
I mean, I agree with what he said. Agree exactly what he said. I mean, like, some men like a little more spice in the bedroom. Maybe just bringing someone else in. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, I'm just saying, like, it's different. Like he said, everybody is different, but that's all about communication.
Okay.
Not saying I would, but I'm just saying there's a lot of people that I know that does do it, and they have a communication. So I mean, like, no one wants the same thing over and over and over. Somebody, people want to spice it up.
All right. Okay. Mr. Williams?
Well, I think I have just a little bit different say on this. I consider myself a good teacher of the art. However, one thing I need you to know is that you should come with more skills. Maybe you need to watch a movie, buy some toys, or get a better girl talk, or whatever it is that you need to do. But you got to get a little bit more gutter. With your life now, we're competing with so many things out there: television, movies, daily things in the world, and so your mind wanders a lot. And so if you're out seeing all of these things all day in the world, TV, cell phones, wherever you go, billboards, then you're going to have to do more or be more visible when you come home. You got to be more cognizant of what's going on in your own home and your own relationships. And so for me, I like your gutter. So you have to get a little bit more gutter than you're doing. And so, so women need to figure those things out, whatever it is that those men need, or whatever their, whatever their desires are, that's what you kind of need to cater to.
Okay.
Right. And it goes back to communication. Letting that person know what it is and what are your non-negotiables. That needs to be discussed.
Absolutely, most definitely.
Just because it's a fantasy or that's something that you like, that don't mean that everybody's going to be on board.
Right.
Absolutely.
Okay, we have a comment I'm gonna bring up on
gutter for.
Go ahead, Mr. Williams.
Go ahead. I was just gonna say gutter, like he said, gutter for everyone is different. It's just like what Pryor said and Garrett said. It's about spice. Whatever it is that you like, you need to communicate that.
That's right.
And many people now are just afraid to communicate what their likes are for fear of it's not going to fit what you need. Well, at least I'm honest what I want up front, and then you understand that, and we can work around that. Or maybe like Garrett said, it's a non-negotiable, and now we're not wasting as much time.
Okay. Miss Conley said, this is for Mr. Pryor. What are some examples of spicing it up?
I mean, some women don't like giving oral. I mean, that's a big turn off for me. And also, like I said, like with some men like threesomes. So I mean, like if a man like it, and if you don't agree to it, I mean, we have to respect the decision. But it's like other things that women just don't like doing that they should like learn how to do, figure it out, and role playing and everything. Just don't want to have regular sex.
Okay. All right. Regular. What's regular? Miss Conley said her notes need clarity. So what's regular? What's regular sex?
Regular sex is just
Does that go
regular
back to
sex.
communication?
I mean, like communication is just regular sex. Like, some women like not talking, just, you want to hear something. You want to hear like, different verbal when you're having sex and everything, so like stuff like that. Yeah. Just not just laying there, basically.
Okay. All right.
So, but I do. Let me add to this. No, sex is a big topic, but it's totally different from sex and making love. So
Right.
the thing is, you have to be connected because sex is actually spiritual.
Okay.
So the thing is, you again, everything I've said from the past, you just have to communicate on what it is.
Absolutely. Okay.
I agree.
So can we agree that the underlying for men is communication
Right.
in every?
Absolutely.
Okay. So let's keep it going in sex for just a little bit. Why do you think that women are apprehensive about discussing sex? And if you do think so, why do you think that women are?
Repeat that again for me.
Do you think that women are apprehensive about discussing sex? You said communication is key when it comes to sex. Do you think that women are apprehensive when it comes to the details, when it comes to knowing what they want, what you want? And if you think they are apprehensive, why do you think they are apprehensive?
I think they may be apprehensive due to maybe past relationships. Often men don't want to be compared to nobody else, and everybody has a past. So the past should be left in the past. So that may be one of the reasons for being apprehensive.
I also agree with Mr. Garrett. Some women are, but some women aren't. They love to express, that they want certain sex things done in the bedroom and everything. So like I wouldn't say all women are apprehensive, but some women do like to vocalize like, hey, let's spice it up, let's do this, let's do that, like let's do different things. So it's like not all women are like that, but majority of them are apprehensive, like he said, when it comes to their past relationships and they bring it on to their new relationship.
Okay. Ms. Williams?
I think it's more about it's not I think it's more apprehension about the details, not necessarily the act. I From my experience, I think that most women expect to already have some kind of status where they're kind of ahead of the game, and they think that when you're kind of bringing knowledge to them, it's like you're saying that you're overly experienced and they're not, and no one wants to feel inferior. So let me do what I do the best. You just need to be satisfied with what I offer, and not let's come to some mutual understanding. Again, we back at communication. What I like, what you like, what we can change, and what we can add to spice this thing up. And the conversation kind of, I guess it takes on being boring because we're not in the action. We're more or less talking about the action. But talking about it leads to even longer lifetime of it. It makes it even better, makes it hotter. It makes it that you want more of it, and it can turn to more things than that. But if we never talk about it, it's going to be what it is. It's going to be just sex because, hey, I figured it's just something to jump off, get my rocks off, and you never wanted to learn how to grow in it. So let's just keep doing what we're doing now, and we'll see how it goes. So communication, again, is the key to getting what you want from it.
Okay. All right. Let's look at the comments real quick. Okay, Ms. Collins says she has been apprehensive due to not wanting. Often men don't like to be compared, but how can I not compare due to her past being the foundation? So do you think that's an issue? Women are trying to protect men's egos?
It's not necessarily protecting. It's just leaving the past in the past. I mean, um, who would want to be compared to somebody else, even if it was on the reverse?
Right.
A guy shouldn't be comparing his new love interest to an old love interest. Well, she used to do this, she used to do that. Well, she's not that person. So it's all about, learning a person and seeing if you're able to deal with that. If you can't, you need to kick rocks and go.
Okay.
And it all goes back to communication.
Okay. All right. Miss Williams.
I don't look at it as comparing. I don't look at it as comparing. I think I look at it as more about expectations. If you're trying to compare me, that means you don't. Your expectation is kind of small. You're looking for what you already had versus trying to find out what we can be or what we can bring. And so again, that conversation comes back in of what you're looking for, and I guess you're saying if they were talking about it, it's not about it. My ego going to be bruised or I don't want to hear about the past. I don't care about the past. What I care about is the future. But you're trying to make me be exactly what somebody else was, instead of trying to find out what I got differently or what I hold. Two guys can have the same car, but one car they're paying more for. One guy's paying $1,000 for it, and one guy's paying $700 for the same car. We're gonna have more fun in the one that costs $700 because I have some extra income, some extra bells and whistles that I can use, and some more resources I can use to give you even more. And so we can't just compare what someone else has to what I have, and then just make your determinations on that. We got to kind of listen to it and follow through on some things and get some more details and some more time and some considerations. Again, details, communication.
Okay. I hope
your video is going out. I can hear you.
You breaking up, Ms. Young.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
it's a little bit.
We can now.
Okay. Just struggle, I guess, with the internet. I don't know. So if it goes in, keep the conversation going. All right, so let's get just a little bit. Another thing we want to talk about tonight is finances, and that's a broad area. So I just want to touch on it a little bit tonight. We'll continue this part on next week. But one I won't say misconception, but one thing that I have heard a lot of times is that men are intimidated by independent women when it comes to them having their own money or maybe making more money than their man. What are your thoughts surrounding that? Do you think that men are intimidated by a woman making more money than him, or a woman that has her own and doesn't really need him in that area? Share.
Well, he could be intimidated. Again, it just depends on the person. But as I've stated, I've been married 19 years. And I'm going to tell you what works for me. When people go into relationships, they think it's 50-50. It's half and half. You pay half, I pay half. In a relationship, it's 100-100. All of mine, all of yours is ours. And so people go into these relationships with me and mine and yours. So right there, you've already failed. If you can't go into the relationship as ours, you're already defeated.
All right. Next. Somebody else jump in on that.
I feel like I have seen certain men be intimidated by women who are independent. But I wouldn't say all men are. But I know that some women come to this conclusion that all men are intimidated, and also can make men not want to be with them because they feel as if they have to think that we're intimidated by them and show another side of them. So I wouldn't say all men are, but I know that some men are though. I've seen it. So, but I know that also women can gradually think that and also push it on other men too. So can also have relationship problems and a woman finding a man.
Okay. Mr. Williams?
I agree with all of that. Independent women, that topic doesn't bother me at all. I mean, I like it. Matter of fact, in principle, it is a good idea and everything is for me. I enjoy it. But the problem becomes is that independent women typically change their personalities for some other reason. We want you to be independent, but the attitude that comes with it, that veil that you put on, sometimes make it a stupid thing. It makes being independent look stupid on you. And I say that because of the flaunting that comes with it. It's like I'm trying to prove something. Men have been what you call breadwinners, independent their whole lives and everything. They can make six figures. And it's not bothering us. We're still gonna live our lives and have fun, and with the women that we have or the woman that we have. The problem is that we should let our independence guide us, not lead us. And I think more women let it lead them versus guide them using it in a positive way. It's like they're in competition with the men. And so many men are kind of like pushed away from it. Or for me, it doesn't bother me one way. As Mr. Garrett said once before, your money is still my money anyway. You see, you could be independent, you can be strong, whatever. But if we're in a relationship, you know, I'm gonna put my hands on it anyway.
And also, Mr. Brecker, I feel like that just the whole question itself is just like no man should be intimidated about a woman they're trying to love and be with. So this is crazy. This already starting off wrong.
Okay.
Yeah. And it may lead even from daddy issues. You know, not ever seeing a man in the home. You know,
Right.
but some, you know, men are in the home, but you know, a lot of women already got issues before even trying to start these relationships that really never seen a really positive example of a man. They might have seen a father, but not a true example of a man.
Okay.
I think one of the I have a comment too about that. In the first place, I can't even remember where that title even came from. What is the big deal about wanting to be independent in the first place? Typically, I thought the act was to look for a unit, trying to look for a husband, trying to be in a relationship. Independence separates yourself on top already. So again, as I mentioned before, if men are independent, it's not something that we go around saying. We don't say the words, I'm an independent man. Whether I'm single or married, the word independent doesn't come out. I'm just successful, but I'm looking for success to be with someone. So why is it that women look at their independence as something that they hold to themselves versus share or look for someone to kind of, cohabitate with, instead of looking at it as something that I stand alone with? What's the purpose behind it in the first place? Where did that mantra even come from? Independent woman. You know, so that. It's just a whole nother thing that we can open up. Why did that even come about?
Okay. All right. I'm speechless. Where did it come from? Okay. So, ooh, all right. Mr. Garrett brought up something that he was kind of going into the question that I was going to ask, and you said it could come from daddy issues. The fact that women have to portray that we are independent and we don't need a man to take care of us. What other reasons do you think that? Because it might not be a daddy issue. They could have had a loving father, but it's just something that has come up. What other reasons do you think could be presenting that independent? I don't need you.
I think the reason is because a lot of men or young men are being raised by women. And they look to their mom for everything. Now they're going into these relationships with these independent women that serve as the role as their mother. So by not having those positive examples, it's not only on women, but this is more so a problem for the male. Not having that positive role model as a man. And you know, I've actually worked with youth and that's in jail, and these young men, you would thought they had relationships with their mother. So a lot of times the mothers are crippling these young men, but I understand why, because the father is not there. So, you know, it's not a woman problem, man problem. It's all of our issues, you know, that, you know, we need to, you know our role and know our place and do the things that we need to do so we can, you know, provide and help young men be successful so these women won't have to claim to be independent.
Okay.
And I agree with Mr. Garrett because I actually was raised by my aunt and everything. So like he definitely isn't wrong about that because you do look up to the woman that's in your household when she's single and she doesn't have a husband or anything. So you use that in life and everything, which can be bad because you know like you didn't have a male figure. So like me now, I've kind of like unlearned habits around being around other males and them teaching me stuff. So Mr. Garrett isn't wrong about that. So.
Okay. Mr. Williams?
Ms. Gregory, could you repeat that? Could you repeat that question again? Because the call was breaking up, and I didn't quite hear the whole question.
Why do you think that some women portray the independent attitude besides the daddy issues? What can be other factors contributing to them having to let you know that they don't need a man?
Well, I think first of all, it has to do with some past relationship. That's one thing. I think the independent thing is a what you call a shield for. It's almost like they already have a notion that they're going to break up or it's not going to last. So they want to go ahead and have their feet already halfway ready to run in the event that it doesn't work out. So you come into it with a negative disposition that the relationship's not going to last. You don't expect it to last. And that means to me that you're not going to even fight for it up front. So I can kind of pick up on those skills even in the beginning of a relationship that you're on the run. And so oftentimes there are plenty young men out there, young and old, as a matter of fact, who we learn those skills just by being around you. And many men exploit those skills. We already know you're running anyway, so you didn't make it. You didn't make it known that you were serious, and so I'm not going to commit to being serious. And so we can tell that. And so if you're on the run, we're going to help you run. But at the same time, let me hold you for just a moment.
And if I can chime in on that, some women just got Jezebel spirits. They want control.
Right.
Because they seen their mama control. They seen their grandmama control.
Yep.
And so, and the thing is, and a lot of men got Ahab spirits. You know, and Ahab spirit let Jezebel do whatever she want to do. So, you know, they got that mentality. And the thing is, it's all learned. But everything that's learned can be unlearned.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. I told y'all I'm a little speechless. Okay. All right. Let's shift a little bit while we're in this vein of talking about women and independence. I want to discuss gender roles a little bit in relationships. Lines have kind of gotten a little blurred with gender roles. And so what is one thing that you say you wish women knew about gender roles? When I'm speaking of gender roles, I'm talking about the traditional women are supposed to be in the homes to cook, prepare the meals, take care of the children, and men are supposed to get the money, bring it home, take care of the bills, take care of the household. And we see it a lot of times flipped, or we see it where you pay the mortgage, I pay the car notes, or whatever. What do you think women should know about how men feel about gender roles in 2021?
I think that whatever works for you and yours, whatever works. You know, you can't compare it to what somebody else do in their home with their gender roles. If the woman, you know, go out and make the bacon and you with the kids, so what? It works for you.
All right.
Like Mr. Garrett said with like the 100, like I totally agree with that. But also like what he said, that whatever really works for you, because some people just want to make stay at home. Some people are okay with people just going out and making the money and everything. So like he said, really, you can't really say anything else but like whatever works in their household.
Okay. All right.
Okay. I kind of agree with what both the gentlemen said about, you know, it's whatever works in your household. However, for me, I do think that it's very important that we have some conversations up front. Well, I'm one of those people that I'm up front. I tell you exactly what I'm used to doing, what I like to do, and what I want to do. And so I kind of put the information out front. I let the woman know how I feel, and I want to hear what your thoughts are, and then I can kind of determine a lot of your I'm gonna say your gender role expectations from that, and then I kind of move with that. And so even though I'm still kind of old school, I accept a lot of the new school things in order to be I guess you say compromising. But for me, some of the ancient older roles are still important to me, you know, because I mean, I've seen how they work in the past. I know the past better than I know what's going on in the present. And so though I'm very flexible, I'm still traditional. For me, example, I'm not ancient, but you got to be able to make cornbread. I do believe that a woman should be able to cook. If you can't make cornbread, that's a no-no for me. And it's the why is that? It's because in order to bake cornbread, it first means you must be able to cook. And also to make cornbread, you must know what utensils to have. That means that you even prepare it at the house because you got the right skillet. I don't want Jiffy. And so you got to think like that. And so it's more than just what the role is. It's what you know about that role. Me throwing out some odd rule or role that I think you're supposed to have, I'm just going to throw it out there, sit back and wait to see how you're going to respond, how you're going to adjust or fight it. And if I see that you know how to fight that role, and I can say, okay, that's not appropriate for us. Okay, well, let's adjust it. Maybe I'll do this part of the role and you can do that part. But for being real, since I kind of sit on both sides of the fence, and I still got some younger ways, I'm going to put the roles out there. And if you don't jump on it or you don't respond to it, you don't tell me that you're not comfortable with it, I'm going to push it. I'm going to take what I want in that role, and I'm going to go what's traditional. Maybe I look at how my father and my mother's relationship is. Maybe I look at most of my uncles. I'm going to go with whichever ones make it last longer and the ones that I can get the most benefits from. And so I give you an opportunity to express yourself. But in today's society, it's either you express what you want and you do it with an attitude, or you all won't talk at all. Okay. And so either way, men now are learning how to ride in the middle. If you won't talk at all, you're gonna get ran over. And if you talk too much, they're gonna leave you anyway. So the problem, I think, is, or the middle ground is, how much conversation are you all having on those roles? Because we all come from different backgrounds. Some of us come from one parent household, two parents household. So what those roles are very blurred. But I'm going to tell you how mine was. You tell me how yours are, and let's discuss it.
Well, I promise you, I didn't marry my wife for her cooking, and I don't eat cornbread, so we good.
Those gender roles it's important. Those things came up later. I learned, Mr. Garrett, that sometimes when I didn't ask the right question, those were the questions I should have asked. I mean, I didn't ask, and it got me in a lot more trouble down the line. Then when you try to bring up the roles later, it's too late now, because it's like, I already got you now. I ain't gonna do that. You didn't marry me for that, and so that's what I meant by that.
Right.
Once you get into it,
asking is what? Communicating.
Yes, asking is communicating. But
that's the thing for the night. Communication.
But men, as we're more mature, so we use the word communication. But the majority of men not using that word anymore.
Okay.
They just not using the word. They still want it. They just not using the word.
So when you say we more mature, you're talking about you guys on this call.
Yeah, this call. We're mature, man. I don't know what it is. Maybe I don't know what it is that we're doing, but we know what the answers are. But we can't make other guys use that word.
And that's absolutely correct.
But the word could be there, Ms. Gregory. I guess one of the questions would be, what would a man say when he wants you to communicate with him? Rather than tell you to communicate, a lot of men may ask you, can we just sit down, let's watch a movie today? All right. So if he's not really watching the movie, he doesn't really watch TV a lot, that's his time. That's your time to communicate with. They're not going to tell you that it's time to communicate. They come up with some strange way of getting your time, and you got to figure out, okay, is this the time I need to communicate with them? Or they're out of the blue, that Netflix and chill. Well, they need to talk. They need to talk about something. They ask you how your day going. Okay, you just need to stop everything you're doing, stop, drop, and roll, and then you need to start communicating, because you're not going to get that chance that often.
All right. So you opened up a big thing, and then we're going to get ready to wind down. So communication is the key. We've established that for tonight. And you started going into how and when to communicate. So when women have something heavy, not just the casual stuff, but when there's something heavy, what is the best way to communicate that with their partner? That they, it's something that they really need to share with them. We hear, and I'm saying this because we hear, well, you need to cook his favorite meal, or you need to have the candles ready, or you need to have the wine ready. Is there a perfect way to communicate something heavy to a man?
Well, it depends on who your man is.
Okay.
One thing that works for me, because I can only speak for me, prayer. If this man can't take you by the hand and pray for you or with you, he's not the one. And I'm gonna leave it at that.
Okay. All right.
Well, for me, I like what we call scenario and situational learning. If you have something heavy that you need to share with me, I think because we're by nature, we're fixers and we like to solve problems and all those things. For me, I'm not the total emotional person, but what I do like is to fix your problem. Now, if I see that you're emotional, you're hurt, I go to work at that point. So the one way to reach me in this scenario would be to ask me, I guess, something similar to the problem that you're experiencing. How would I deal with that? And when they go into that, they start telling you how the mechanics of how they solve a problem. That's when you insert yourself into that and say, well, I'm having something similar to that. What would you suggest I do? Then they're going to take over the questioning right there. But I think the part that kind of ruined me in my previous relationship is when a woman walk up to me or when I'm in the house and you say these words to me, I need to talk to you. At that point, we don't now, this is that back then, not now, but back then, when I hear those words, the first thing comes to my mind is somebody told you I cheated or I did something wrong. And I'm trying to figure that out. So I'm really not listening to nothing you saying. I'm trying to go back to what am I about to get caught on? So it's the way you communicated to us in our terms, not your terms, because you have the problem that needs to be solved and you need my help. And women oftentimes try to push their ways off on us, and you want me to communicate like you. And I'm a male, I communicate differently. So what you do is you give me the scenario and let me dissect it, and then I can fix your problem like that.
Okay.
So that goes back to the example I was telling you. We use an ink pen or a pencil. As long as I got the pencil or the ink pen, you can't say anything.
Exactly.
When I finish, I give it to you. I can't say anything. So now we got the chance to actually listen to each other. And what I found out is a lot of times we're saying the same thing, but we're saying it differently.
Right.
But last time I tried that thing with the pencil, though, they broke the pencil.
Well, you know.
Oh, man.
You want to close this out, Mr. Pryor? Can you hear me?
Oh yes.
Right.
Just because I'm only 24. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Sir.
Okay, yeah. So I'm only 24 going to 25. So listening to Mr. Williams and Mr. Garrett, I'm taking it in for myself just on how to communicate, in a relationship in general. But I know that I was raised in church, so I'm a big believer in Jesus Christ. So I feel like you definitely have to pray over any situation going into it and going out of it. So I feel like that's a really big thing. And also just not over talking when someone is talking, when you're trying to express your thoughts and your opinions, because I've been in a relationship where I feel like that we talked at the same time. We got nowhere. We bickered for 30, 40 minutes and it got completely nowhere. So it's all about communication. And now that how I deal with who I'm now, talking to and everything, I feel like that now I'm letting them talk and then I'm like processing and then I'm also replying. Because back in the day, I used to just shoot off and be like, yeah. And it just gets you nowhere.
How can I chime in on this right quick, please? This is one of the biggest areas I've been faced in the last 10 years. That's part of communication. The problem I'm having with that is that I can process a lot of information. And so as you say, the going back and forth thing, I'm not going to go back and forth. I am a good listener. The problem is that when you have a man who's educated and he's a good listener, if he's truly engaged in the conversation, I can't talk because, typically, you're not going to get ready to stop her from talking. So she's emotional giving off the information. So what I'm doing is I'm listening. And what do men do when we're really listening? We kind of with that brow down and we listening for where's the trouble, how we going to fix it. They think you're not paying attention because you're not talking as much or you're not engaging because we're trying to get all the details of the points to be solved and those types of things. And I often keep getting caught in that. Am I paying attention? Do I really care? And so I'm either getting, you don't seem like you care and you don't want to know, or you, what's the word? I'm insensitive or whatever it is they give me. And so those are the issues I have is learning how to communicate the way they feel that I'm being sensitive enough, I guess you will. And those are the issues that I'm having. I need help for that myself.
So the thing is, again, you have to learn your partner's love language.
Yeah.
And if you love that person, it's not going to be all about how I receive or how I handle it. You're going to craft it where you can adjust yourself so you can be adjustable for her.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the thing. A lot of times we have to move self out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
And because everybody's looking through a different set of
Different
eyes,
lens. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
different lenses. So a lot of times what helps me is I allow myself to sit in their place to see how they're looking at a situation so I can better craft and be able to relate to them to get them exactly what they need. Because if they're coming to you, there is a need. Again, as
Yeah.
men, we want to be problem solvers. So why not listen? Because they're going to allow you to help them by what they're telling you to go ahead and get the issue resolved.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Well, I understand that love language. I mean, I got that. That's the problem. I'm doing too much of that.
So it's a one day at a time thing. You can it takes a while to learn people in their ways.
And go ahead.
But when we learn it, but when we start focusing so much on their language, the issues I have, I understand what you're saying, Mr. Garrett. Focusing on what they're saying, putting myself and being empathetic. I'm good at that. I think that one of the issues is that when you put yourself too much over on that side, then they're expecting the emotion as well. And sometimes I don't have the same emotion because I handle problems differently. So now here it is. Do I give myself into emotion or do I stay strong? And so I'm just like you said, I'm still a natural problem solver. I understand that. And I try to be more empathetic. Of course, I talk my empathy out, letting them know. I guess I'm explaining my feelings versus showing my feelings. And so that's my way of letting them know I am paying attention. I am cognizant of what you're saying. I'm here to listen. I'm not trying to actually actively solve your problem, but I still give off. Well, I want you to feel. They saying I want you to feel the way I feel. And I think sometimes that can be impossible for a man to really deal with. They want you to actually feel the exact same way as them. No matter how much I try to show my care or be empathetic, I still can't feel the way you are. And so I think, again, communication. Just telling the problem is not enough. You got to tell me what solutions you have attempted, and then I can match them. So in order for me to be empathetic with you, I will have to ask you some questions. I got to kind of know what you already been working on. And the problem is that I get oftentimes in the past is that I don't know how to solve this problem. I don't even know where to begin. But they're also not willing to let you give them the leg to do it because of the independent part.
Mr. Williams, I think you made an important acknowledgement that I'm definitely guilty. Women, sometimes when we're expressing ourselves, we do want you to feel what it is that we're feeling, and we have to remember that your makeup is different, and you won't, always experience the same emotions that we feel, but we don't need to take that as insensitive or that you don't care. And sometimes I think that's what we as women do by nature. And it just goes back to what you guys have said. The underlying theme of the night, communication, is critical when it comes to expressing anything in any of the areas that we talked about on tonight. And so that is what we are going to definitely close out with. Communication is key in sex. Communication is key in finances. Communication is key in gender roles. Communication is key in expressing ourselves. And so thank you guys for sharing and being open and transparent tonight. This is part one of What Men Wish Women Knew, and we have gotten off to a great start. The comments are lit up. I'm sure you guys will be able to look at them once we get out the broadcast, but definitely some wisdom and insight shared on all ends. So thank you guys for participating. Any final comments before we close out?
Yep, I'm good.
No.
That's the man.
Well, I will say this. I had post a comment saying that you can't place a crown on a clown and expect a king.
Elaborate just a little bit. Take us out on it.
So if you know you're a clown, you know what you're getting.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
So a clown can't be a king. And so if you're gonna submit to a clown, you know that it's gonna be a circus.
Okay. All right. And that's our comment for the night.
Right.
Say it again for me, Mr. Garrett, and that's gonna be our closing.
You can't put a crown on a clown and expect a king.
You
That's
cannot
right.
put a crown on a clown and expect the king. And that is how we are going to end. Please tune in next week for part 2 of What Men Wish Women Knew. We'll get into some more topics. We might go back into some of these, but thank you, gentlemen, for being here tonight. Guys, we will see you next week. Please share this broadcast, and we will see you guys on next Tuesday at 8:30. Have a good night.